When I saw my wife's name on the screen, I answered without thinking. Chad. The voice was playful, the words that followed obscene. It was my wife's voice coming through the phone. My world tilted on its axis. My mind flooded with images of her fawning over another man, and a cold, electric rage struck me like lightning. I forced myself to breathe, to control the urge to scream into the phone. Under these circumstances, this had to be a pocket dial. If I blew up now, I'd tip them off. Today, I was going to catch them in the act. Based on the call, I used a location tracking app to pinpoint her phone. I grabbed an Uber and headed for the hotel. Inside the lobby, I approached the front desk. "Excuse me, what room is Crystal Miller in?" "I'm her husband." I kept my voice steady, my expression a mask of calm, but my hands were clenched into fists, my palms sweating. "I'm sorry, sir, but it's hotel policy not to give out guest room numbers. My wife's father is in the ER undergoing emergency surgery. This is life or death." I roared, dropping the polite facade. "If something happens because you delayed me, can you live with that?" The young woman at the desk flinched, terrified by my sudden outburst. "I'm so sorry, sir. I'll look it up right now." She quickly typed, "Sir, Ms. Miller is in room 404. I didn't wait for another word, bolting for the elevator and sprinting down the fourth-floor hallway. When I reached 404, the door was ajar. A woman's furious voice spilled out into the hall. "Slap. Chad Harrison, you live off my money, you eat my food, and you still have the nerve to cheat on me?" She seduced me. I swear I'll never do it again, I'm so sorry. To prove his point, Chad Harrison slapped Crystal hard across the face. 5 red finger marks instantly bloomed on her pale cheek. "Chad, you..." Crystal's face contorted with rage, but knowing she was in the wrong, she swallowed her anger. "Don't think hitting this slut proves your innocence," the other woman sneered. "As of today, all business between Harrison Corp. and Vance Holdings is terminated." Chad looked like he'd just had an artery severed. Clad only in a pair of briefs, he scrambled off the bed and collapsed at the woman's feet, clutching her leg and sobbing like his parents had just died. I stepped into the room and kicked him. The blow sent him tumbling 2 meters across the floor. "Fuck, who the hell are you? You think you can kick me?" Chad redirected all his fury at me, looking like he wanted to tear me apart. "I'm your father," I said, my voice dripping with contempt. His jaw dropped. Crystal's composure finally shattered. "Leo, what are you doing here?" Her face was chalk white, her voice a trembling whisper. "Didn't you invite me?" I said, my stomach churning as I looked at the half-dressed, pathetic pair. They were 2 of a kind, a perfect match. Crystal was completely bewildered. Check your call history," I suggested with mock kindness. The moment she opened her phone and saw the log, she clawed at her own hair in a fit of despair. The other woman pieced it together. She pointed at the disheveled Crystal on the bed, a smirk playing on her lips. "So your name is Crystal, huh? Cheating on your husband, and you pocket dial him? Wow, you're a special kind of genius, aren't you?" Damn, this woman had a way with words. "Crystal," I said, my voice cold. "We're at this point. Do you have anything left to say?" Her shame vanished in an instant, replaced by a cold sneer as if she'd become a different person. "Leo, since you already know, let's just be honest. I can't stand you. Chad is so much better. He has more money, he's more capable, and most importantly, he has more time for me. Just think about it. How much time do you actually spend with me all year?" Her words ignited a fire in my chest. If I don't travel for work, who pays the bills? Who pays the $300,000 mortgage? Who pays for your mother's cancer treatments? If I stayed home with you all day, where would the money come from? I work 3 jobs. I'm up at 5 a.m. and I don't get home until midnight. I run myself into the ground every single day. Who the hell do you think I'm doing it for? My outburst set her off. "You're supposed to be a man. You get that? A man. It's your own damn fault you're incompetent. Even if you work 10 jobs a day, you'd never be a match for Chad. I must have been blind to marry a useless piece of trash like you. You don't deserve a wife." Every complaint she spat was like gasoline on the flames inside me. When she uttered that last sentence, I couldn't take it anymore. I drew back my fist and swung at her face. When my knuckles were just an inch from her cheek, the other woman stopped me. "I'm afraid you'll kill her," she said calmly. "Let me." She turned to Crystal and slap, delivered 2 sharp slaps of her own. "As a woman, I find you disgusting. Everything you do, everything you say, it's nauseating." Crystal wasn't used to being treated this way. At home, I'd always been the one to back down, to coax her and apologize after every fight. She couldn't handle this humiliation. The 2 women started fighting, one grabbing the other's collar, the other yanking a fistful of hair, neither willing to let go. Minutes later, the police arrived at the hotel. We received a disturbance call. You'll have to come with us for questioning. Chad and Crystal were still barely dressed. The evidence was pretty clear. They followed the officers out, heads hanging in shame. Now, it was just me and Chad's girlfriend. My name is Chloe, she said. And you? I lit a cigarette and took a long drag. Leo, my boyfriend and your wife did this. What are you going to do? What else can I do? Divorce. No man can accept being cheated on. For a man, hardship and exhaustion mean nothing. But loyalty? That's the bottom line. Maybe we should sleep together, she said suddenly. We're both single now. A little revenge on that miserable pair. I was stunned silent. I couldn't have come up with a line that audacious if I'd had 10 shots of tequila. If we did that, what would make us any different from them? Chloe covered her mouth with her hand, a coy smile in her eyes. So you have principles. I like that. So, tell me, who's prettier? Your wife or me? I took a good look at her. She had captivating, almond-shaped eyes and a high-bridged nose that gave her an air of elegance. Her figure was stunning, tall and curvy, exuding a bewitching charm. I answered honestly. You are. I didn't want to praise her too much. My mom always taught me that the more beautiful a woman is, the more likely she is to deceive you. After what happened with Crystal, my faith in women was shot. Hearing my answer, Chloe seemed satisfied. Come with me. Let's go blow off some steam. What the hell? We'd known each other for less than 30 minutes, and she was already inviting me to her place? I'm not that kind of guy. She burst out laughing, understanding my hesitation. What are you thinking? I'm taking you to a bar for a couple of drinks. My face flushed for a second before I regained my composure. We ended up at a place called the Red Moon Lounge. Inside, neon lights pulsed and young people danced, lost in the music. A few cocktail waitresses in skimpy outfits came by to flirt, but Chloe shooed them away. I stared at the beautiful young women and sighed at the state of the world. You know, these girls could do anything. Why this line of work? Chloe raised her glass and downed it in one go. If it weren't for these hard-working girls, why would you men love coming to bars so much? Her insight startled me. This woman understood men. My alcohol tolerance was low. I'd only managed half a glass. I've never been to a bar before. You're the one who dragged me here, so don't pin this on me. What are you doing, nursing that thing? She grumbled, seeing my half-full glass. She playfully punched my chest with a small fist. I quickly drained my glass and refilled both of ours. She nodded in satisfaction. You know, men are bastards, always wanting what they don't have. What does that woman have that I don't? She clinked her glass against mine and drained it again. I gave a humorless laugh. You say men are bastards, but I think women could be just as bad. We met in college. We knew each other, fell in love, and got married. Crystal wasn't like this back then. She was simple and kind. I don't know why, but as soon as we got married, she changed. She became obsessed with comparing herself to others, obsessed with money. Chloe cut me off. It's normal for women to like money. Don't men? Men love women more, I said. Men like money because women like money. A man needs money to get the woman he loves. Chloe roared with laughter. So, to put it bluntly, men are horny and women are greedy. We toasted to that and drank again. Throughout the long night, Chloe and I poured our hearts out. We talked mostly about men and women, about love and relationships. But with the way Chloe was downing her drinks, she couldn't last long. Eventually, she passed out, slumped over the bar, completely still. After a minute, I pressed my fingers under her nose to check if she was just asleep or had actually died of alcohol poisoning. We had been drinking until 1 in the morning when the bartender finally kicked us out. I'd had a lot to drink myself, but I was much more sober than Chloe. Just as I was about to hoist her onto my back, the bartender tipped his hat with a polite smile. Sir, you'll need to settle the bill. Crap, Chloe hadn't paid. I looked at her peaceful, sleeping face and couldn't bring myself to wake her. How much? That'll be $2, $500. The number made my head spin. This bar was a rip-off, preying on unsuspecting customers. But a man has his pride. I pulled out my card and transferred the money, my heart sinking with every digit I pressed. It was financial murder. That was more than 2 months of my salary. I carried Chloe on my back through the deserted streets. She was still sobbing softly in her sleep. Why am I so unlucky? Every man I meet is a scumbag. Are all the good men in the world dead? I sighed. This woman really had it rough. Aside from her occasionally crude language, she seemed like a decent person. I didn't have time to dwell on her words. The priority was finding a place for her to sleep. I didn't know where she lived, so a hotel was the only option. I hailed a cab and went to the nearest one. Quick, I need a room. Fast. Sir, what kind of room would you like? We have singles, doubles, king-size beds. Whatever, just be quick. The female receptionist saw my urgency and let out a little snicker. Sir, I'll get you a king-sized room. It's very comfortable for 2 people. Another employee nearby whispered. Somebody's in a hurry. I didn't have time to explain. I grabbed the key card and rushed to the room. I gently placed Chloe on the large bed, pulled the covers over her, and left a bottle of water with the cap twisted open on the nightstand. Looking at her beautiful face, I felt a primal urge stir within me. But this wasn't some romantic movie where I'd have a fateful, passionate encounter in a hotel room. I was just a working stiff, and I needed to stay that way. But I couldn't just leave. The drinks cost me $2,500, and the room was another $150. I had to get that money back. It was my blood, sweat, and tears. I found a notepad and wrote a note. Drinks, $2,500. Hotel, $150. Remember to pay me back. I added my bank account number and phone number below it. Back home, the cold, empty apartment amplified my sense of loss. A perfectly good home shattered just like that. I stepped into the shower, letting the warm water wash over my exhausted body, seeping into my every pore. Lying in my own bed, I was enveloped by a profound loneliness. I had always wanted to have a child with Crystal to fill the house with laughter. She always said I didn't earn enough, that we couldn't afford to raise a child, that we should wait until I made more money. Every time she said it, I thought she was trying to motivate me, pushing me to work harder. It was only after I caught her with Chad that I understood. She never wanted to have a child with me. She was just waiting to lock down Chad before kicking me to the curb. At that thought, the tears finally came. All my sacrifices had meant nothing to her. I was completely replaceable. That night, crying into my pillow, I solidified my resolve to divorce her. The next morning, my phone rang. Leo, where the hell are you? It was my boss, yelling into the phone. I'm at home, I said, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. Have you looked at the time? I glanced at the wall clock. Crap, it was already 10 a.m. I had stayed up too late, mourning a woman who didn't deserve my tears. Frank, I'm on my way. Don't bother coming in. I froze. Was he firing me for being late once? That seemed harsh. My marriage was gone, and now my job was too. My life was hitting rock bottom. Frank, I'm getting a divorce. I blurted out, hoping for some understanding. What the hell does your divorce have to do with me? It's not my marriage that's ending. I was speechless. The man had no soul. Look, I'll give you 3 days off. Go to Florida, clear your head. When you're feeling better, come back to work. And keep your receipts for the hotel and food. The company will reimburse you. Thanks, Frank. I had no desire to travel. I stayed home, trying to sort through my emotions. Knock, knock, knock. Someone was at the door. I opened it to find Crystal, looking downcast. Leo, she threw herself into my arms, her hot lips pressing against mine, desperately trying to please me. It was a transparent attempt to win me back, but she was mistaken. I would never take her back, no matter how much it hurt to let go. I pushed her away, my gaze hard. Crystal, pack your things and go. Her face crumpled into a mask of grievance, as if I were the villain abandoning his long-suffering wife. Leo, can't you just forgive me one time? I made a mistake any woman could make. Forgive you? Easy for you to say. I will never forgive you. Go find your precious Chad. Boo-hoo-hoo. Crystal burst into tears. Faced with my coldness, her previous arrogance evaporated. Before, because I loved her, I tolerated her. I endured all the pain she inflicted on me. But now, she had crossed a line, and I was erasing her from my life. There was no room for negotiation. We're going to the courthouse later to file for divorce. Then you'll be completely free. You can figure out how to pay for your mother's treatment yourself. I have to save up to marry someone else. Ever since we graduated from college and got married, Crystal had been a housewife. She spent her days with a crowd of materialistic, fair-weather friends, and their influence had completely warped her. Until she could sink her claws into another rich man, she was going to have a very difficult time. Leono, she wailed, a shadow of her former self. The bravado was gone, replaced by a raw fear of an uncertain future. After she quietly packed her things, we went to the courthouse and finalized the divorce. A wave of relief washed over me. For the next 2 days, I spent my time with friends, eating and drinking. Leo, don't be sad. Out with the old, in with the new, a friend said, trying to comfort me. Crystal completely turned into a gold digger. She's not in our world anymore. It's for the best. You worked 3 jobs to pay for her mom's treatment, to give her a better life, and she still wasn't satisfied. She deserves to end up alone. My friend's words, meant to be comforting, just twisted the knife. 7 years of my life gone. It was impossible not to be sad. When my leave was over, I had barely stepped into the office before Frank called me in. Leo, how was the trip? It was good, Frank. Thanks. Good. We've got a huge potential client, and I need you to land them. You think you're up for it? I'm confident. Seeing my determination, Frank's face broke into a wide grin. And I won't have you working for free. If you land this client, there's a $15,000 bonus in it for you. Hearing that number, my spirits lifted instantly. The divorce suddenly felt like a distant memory. Still, I tried to be modest. Frank, giving me 3 days off was more than enough. You don't need to give me a bonus. It's just my job. One thing at a time. This client is a tough nut to crack. If we get them, the company stands to make nearly $10 million in profit. So 15 grand isn't much. It's settled. Frank was a good boss who treated his employees well and was well respected. The prospect of that bonus put a spring in my step. Sometimes, focusing on work is the best way to forget your personal problems. It's probably why so many successful people neglect their families. 3 days had passed, and that woman still hadn't sent me the money. I checked my bank account, and seeing no activity, I felt a new wave of disgust. I'd probably been played for a fool. I sighed, thinking about my terrible luck with women. What kind of people was I attracting? The next day, I went to the address Frank had sent me to meet the big client. Ms. Vance, I'm Leo from Apex Manufacturing. Our company is very eager to partner with yours. Before I could finish, the large executive chair spun around. A stunningly beautiful face appeared before me, so familiar and yet so strange. She was wearing a crisp, professional suit that did nothing to hide her incredible figure. She radiated the authority of a CEO. Leo, fancy seeing you here. You need to pay me back first. My first thought was that this woman had swindled me out of my hard-earned money. When did I ever owe you money? Chloe asked, a look of pure confusion on her face. That night, you invited me for drinks. That was $2,500. And the hotel room was $150. That's $2,650 in total. Oh, that. Chloe's face cleared. She took out her phone, added me on a payment app, and instantly transferred me $100,000. Payment of $100,000 received. Hearing the notification from my phone, my knees went weak. I stammered, Ms. Vance, I only need $650. Why did you send me so much? Thank you really for that night. If you hadn't taken me to the hotel, who knows what might have happened to me? It was nothing, Ms. Vance. Any decent guy would have done the same. Leo, when you took me to the hotel room, you didn't do anything to me, did you? Chloe looked at me deeply, her voice tinged with a playful, sultry tone. I rushed to defend myself. Ms. Vance, I'm not that kind of person. And how can you prove you're not that kind of person? Chloe slowly walked over to me, lifted my chin with her finger, and leaned in close. Her breath was warm and sweet, making my head swim. Luckily, I was prepared. Ms. Vance, you can see for yourself. This is a video I recorded. I was worried there might be a misunderstanding, so I filmed myself leaving the room. Chloe covered her mouth and laughed. A genuine, charming sound. I can't believe it. I've actually met a real gentleman. I tried to decipher her words. Was she calling me a coward? A man and a woman, alone in a room, and a beautiful one at that, and I just let her. I pushed the thought away. Ms. Vance, perhaps we should discuss the business proposal. What's there to discuss? Chloe wrapped her arms around me from behind. I quickly stepped away, my face burning. Ms. Vance, please don't. This is an office. So you're saying we should go to a hotel? My face turned beet red. That's not what I meant. I just want to talk about this deal. And you think you can land a deal without doing anything? You've been in sales this long, and you don't even understand that much. Chloe was the CEO of Vance Holdings. She knew exactly how the world worked. Male clients expected you to drink with them. Female clients expected you to sleep with them. Sales was a damn hard business. I lowered my head, unsure how to respond. She seemed to read my mind and immediately dropped a bombshell. Be my boyfriend for 7 days, and I'll sign the contract with your company. How about it? What the hell? This woman was determined to have me. What was so great about me anyway? Sure, I'm 6 feet tall, in good shape, and maybe a little better looking than the average movie star, but still. My mind raced. If I got this deal, it meant a $15,000 bonus. That was a whole year's salary for me, but it meant sacrificing my dignity for the next 7 days. Ms. Vance, I need to use the restroom. Chloe waved a hand, a slight smile on her lips. Go ahead. I found an empty hallway and quickly called my boss. Frank, Ms. Vance says she'll only sign the deal if I agree to be her boyfriend for 7 days. What should I do? Is that even a question? Do it. You're a man. What have you got to lose? What are you hesitating for? I guess that call was pointless. My boss would do anything to land this contract. I was a traditional guy. My upbringing told me this was wrong. I went back to her office. Ms. Vance, I accept. A sweet smile spread across Chloe's face. She took my hand. Then let's begin. You're having dinner with me tonight. Holding her soft hand, feeling her smooth skin, was a strange and wonderful sensation. That evening, Chloe took me to her home. It was exactly what you'd expect from CEO. The mansion was magnificent, decorated with the most luxurious materials I had ever seen. I felt like a country bumpkin in a palace. "Leo, what do you think of my place?" "It's like heaven on earth," I said with a goofy grin. We went straight to the dining table, which was laden with a feast that could rival a state dinner. There was roast beef, Australian lobster, abalone, roasted lamb chops, and a whole leg of lamb. I stared at the delicious food, utterly speechless. Chloe chuckled and looked at me. "Leo, please eat." Hearing my host's permission, I lost all self-control and dug in, completely forgetting to pay any attention to Chloe. She watched my ravenous attack on the food with a shy smile, clearly amused that the stoic man from her office had zero resistance to a good meal. After dinner, we went up to the rooftop terrace of her villa. The moon was beautiful, the stars bright. We sat down and chatted aimlessly. "Leo, have you ever been in love?" "Of course." "What was she like?" "I can't remember her face clearly anymore," I said. "But she was the kind of person you see once and never forget." An envious look crossed Chloe's face, as if she too longed for that kind of beautiful love. "What about you? Ever loved a boy?" I asked. "I have," she said simply, then quickly changed the subject. "We should get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow." "Okay, you too." The next day, "Leo, today you're taking me out to have fun." "All right." I knew that despite being a CEO, Chloe wasn't happy. We went to an amusement park. We rode the carousel, roller coasters, a pirate ship, and a rainbow slide. By the end of the day, we were completely exhausted. "Leo, thank you," Chloe said, resting her head gently on my chest. "I haven't been this happy in a long, long time." "Ms. Vance, you're already so successful. You need to set aside some time for your life. People aren't meant to be slaves to their work." "You're right. Poor slobs like me excluded, of course, huh?" I immediately felt ridiculous saying it. Who was I to give her advice? Our lives weren't even comparable. "Don't call me Ms. Vance anymore. It's too formal. Call me Chloe." "Okay. And don't think so little of yourself. If you wanted it, everything I have could be yours." Chloe pressed her face against mine, as if she were afraid of losing me. "Chloe, I really don't get it. Why are you so into me? What have I ever done to deserve your attention?" I could never figure out why this incredible stroke of luck had fallen into my lap. "You'll find out eventually," she said, offering no further explanation. For the next few days, we lived in a whirlwind of fun, traveling from state to state, exploring mountains and beaches, indulging in all the pleasures that wealth could buy. By the seventh day, a sense of calm had settled over us. "So, what's the plan for today?" Chloe asked, her big eyes blinking at me. "We've been playing so hard. How about we get some tacos today? I know a great spot." "Okay." Chloe's face lit up like a child's. Girls usually love street food. It's a way to indulge without feeling too guilty about carbs. I took her to a little alley I knew well, a place where I'd often go with my friends for drinks and cheap eats. Bringing a CEO to a food truck in an alley. "I hope you're okay with this." I watched her expression carefully. I grew up the hard way, you know. I'm not some pampered princess. I'm not picky. Chloe took the menu I handed her. "Order whatever you want." Watching her tuck a stray strand of hair behind her ear as she scanned the menu, I was struck by how beautiful she was. Utterly, breathtakingly beautiful. "I've ordered. See if you want to add anything." She passed the menu back to me. "You said you grew up the hard way." I found that hard to believe. Do I look like a spoiled rich girl to you? Actually, no. I grew up in an orphanage. I've never even met my parents. Hearing the word orphanage, my heart skipped a beat. I had grown up in an orphanage too, and there I had known a little girl. When I was at the orphanage, she continued, I knew an older boy who was really good to me. One time, some bullies were picking on me. They had sticks, and they were hitting me, but the big brother held me tight, shielding me with his own body. He was almost beaten to death that day. As she told her story, my eyes began to well up. Large tears fell to the ground and shattered. I turned to look at her and saw that her eyes were already red. "Are you?" "Minnie, it's me, Leo." I pulled Chloe into a fierce hug, memories flooding back, the beautiful moments of our past replaying in my mind. "Why did you change your name?" The man who adopted me was Robert Vance, the CEO of Vance Holdings. He had a daughter named Chloe who passed away when she was 5. He missed her so much that he changed my name. "I see. So, what did you recognize me?" "The day we caught our partners cheating. I recognized you then. You looked so much like you did back then, and your name was still Leo. So you've just been messing with me this whole time?" I finally understood why Chloe had been so fixated on me from the moment we met. "Hee hee, you were making a move, so I had to. I'm not like this with other people, you know? I didn't want you to think I was some easy girl. I held her tighter, finally understanding everything. She wanted me to remember the lively, adorable little girl from all those years ago. But I had been a block of wood, completely oblivious until she told me her story. You won't, I whispered. Chloe, you're the girl I'm meant to protect for the rest of my life. You idiot. I'm your idiot. The end.